Hi, guys. Thanks for joining me today. I'm so excited that you're here. We're going to talk about productivity hacks. As a coach, I get a lot of clients that present to me that are struggling with balancing all of the expectations that life has thrown their way. In fact, my very first book, Quick Tips for Busy Women, I wrote specifically for this reason. A lot of us are juggling so many things. We're a mom, we're a dad, we're a student, we're an employee, we're a business owner, we're a spouse, we're all of these different things. And so it becomes challenging to figure out how to balance all of these things with success. And so I want to talk about different ways that we can go through the day and find the productivity that we need to be successful. Now, first, I would like to preface this with busy doesn't always mean productive. And I fell victim to that for a very long time. I would do a lot of busy work to make myself feel like I was doing things, but it wasn't getting me closer to where I needed to be. And so the first thing that I always suggest when I'm working with my clients is for them to do a thorough review of their goals and their schedule. So let's talk about it. What are your big goals? What are the things that you're trying to accomplish? Whether it's for the day, whether it's for the month, whether it's for the week, what is it that you are trying to get accomplished? When you're able to identify that, then you can figure out what steps you need to take to get there. A lot of people have ideas in their mind what they want to accomplish, but they haven't really narrowed down and identified a goal. Without you knowing what it is you're working towards, you're going to be going anywhere, like who knows? And so it may look different. It may be a goal for the day. Maybe your job has assigned a big project and your goal is to finish that day. It may be something big, like you're wanting to write a book by the end of the month. And so now you're having to break that down. It may be you have a conference to attend because you're an educator and you have all these conferences this evening and you need to figure out how to balance your schedule with that. Whatever it is, you need to identify your goal and each day reflect on that. That's so important. As you reflect on that goal, you need to understand your schedule. So prior to starting this, I would suggest doing like a 2-day audit of your schedule. This is where you write down what you're doing for the day. And the reason I say 2 days is I would do one weekday and I would do one weekend. I also wouldn't do it if there's like a change. Like don't do it over Thanksgiving break or Christmas break when maybe things are a little bit different. Do it as a typical day. And the reason I ask for you to do it on a weekend and a weekday is because ultimately those things are different. We spend our time a lot differently on the weekend than we do on the weekdays. And so you want to do a thorough review of your schedule. Ask yourself, what are you doing during the day? Where does your time go? And really write down these things. At the end of those 2 days, take time to reflect on it. Take time to really identify where your time is going. How much time are you on social media? How much time are you sending emails? How much time are you checking text messages? How much time are you working on your work projects? How much time do you spend eating? How much time do you spend driving? Really take a moment to reflect on your day. So I have a client that I was working with when she was writing a book, and she shared with me, like, I just can't find time to get my book written. And I'm like, I don't believe that. I believe that everyone has time in their day. It just really depends on what we're willing to give up or what we're willing to change. And she's like, no, I've heard that before. That's not it. And so I challenged her to do this 2-day, following an audit of her schedule. When she came back to me, she still didn't see where the time sucker was. And so I ended up going through the audit with her. And what I came to see were 2 really big things. One, her job was really far. Now, she loved her job. And so the idea of changing her job or trying to move closer to home was out of the question, which I totally respected. But what I noticed is she was leaving right at rush hour. And so I challenged her, what happens if you leave before rush hour begins? You get to your job in a shorter amount of time, and that blocks off the amount of time that you would typically be driving that you could dedicate to writing. That was the first thing. The second thing that I noticed was she was going to the grocery store every day. She used the grocery store as an outlet, as a way to get home later because she was under a lot of pressure and stress at home. And so I suggested, what if you do grocery shopping once or twice a week, max, and then the time that you need to grocery shop or pull away from home to regroup, go to Starbucks for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And if you think about that, and you're adding 5 days of 20 minutes a day, that's a lot of time by the end of the week. That's 100 minutes of time that she could dedicate to that goal. But she couldn't see that because we begin to normalize our schedule after a long time. We begin to think it's normal to go to the grocery store five times a week, or we begin to think it's normal to scroll social media for 2 hours a day. But when you have to really, confront your schedule, when you look at the audit and you have to confront it, it allows you to reflect and see, is this normal? Is this healthy? Is this beneficial? And so I challenge you, as you're doing the audit, ask yourself those questions. What purpose does this habit serve in my day? So if you are watching 5 episodes of The Office, which I love The Office, so I'm not judging you, but does that serve a purpose, right? Is that something that's pushing you closer to the big goal that you want to accomplish? If not, then you probably shouldn't be watching 5 episodes of The Office. Maybe you take it down to 2 episodes. Maybe you wait until the end of the week, and after you've accomplished the goal, then you can watch 5 episodes. But you need to identify if it's serving a purpose. One of the things that I also noticed is before I started my business, I spent a lot of time on social media, and the purpose was scrolling. And ultimately, it didn't always make me feel good, because you get into that comparison trap of like, whose life is, better than mine, whose life is worse than mine, what's going on with them, why can't this happen to me, or oh my gosh, this happened to her. And so you get into this comparison trap. Now I probably spend the same amount of time on social media, but it looks different. I get on social media with the intention to encourage or support or motivate and empower other people, to talk about my business, to talk about different things that I'm doing, to share videos, things like that. And so the purpose has shifted. So at that time, had I done an audit, there would have been no need for me to spend, a certain 2 hours a day on social media. Now, if I do an audit of my time, that's something that I see as extremely important for my business. So now, once you do that audit of your time, I want you to figure out where you can find 15 to 30 more minutes to add into your day that will allow you to work towards your goal. So maybe it's waking up earlier. Maybe it's going to bed later. Maybe it's packing your lunch on an hour lunch break so that you have 30 minutes to eat, but 30 minutes to focus on your goals. Whatever it may be, you need to really audit that to find the time. And there is no such thing as there's not time. There always is. You just need to find out what's important. I know for me, recently, I told you guys my kids have been going to a lot of after school activities. And so I was trying to balance all of these things: Girl Scouts, gymnastics, orchestra, small group, just all of these different activities. And I couldn't figure out how to find the time. And so I ended up talking to someone and asking them to coordinate with me. Can you take the girls on this day? And I'll pick the girls up. And so my daughter's best friend's mom and I have tag teamed to be able to support each other on these activities. So that also freed up my time, because at that moment, I was staying at their school, or staying at the Girl Scouts, or staying at the library, or staying at small group, for an hour each day. And so that added 4 hours back in my week, just being able to get support, just being able to get help. And in that 4 hours, I was able to replace it with something healthier. So I started to do like self-care activities, working out, hiring a trainer, that sort of thing, getting time in with my coach. And so the same thing for you. When you are able to find that time and you're able to identify that big goal, what are you going to fill that time with? That time needs to be filled with something that's beneficial, that's helpful, that's going to push you in the direction of the success that you want. Okay. Productivity, there's a lot of tricks to it, but it's important that we're at least taking time to reflect, and more importantly, replace with healthy strategies, because it doesn't do any good if we get rid of social media for 2 hours a day and replace it with watching TV. It doesn't do any good if we get rid of watching TV, but then just sleep all day and don't accomplish anything. It doesn't do us any good. So you must take away the negative and add something positive. So with that, you want to go forward and plan your day. A lot of people that I work with allow the day to plan them. They walk through their day. They have no idea of what's going to happen, no idea of what they want to do. And so the day just kind of gets the best of them. Before they know it, they've gotten distracted and pulled into happy hour, or they've gotten pulled into a conversation in the teacher's lounge or whatever. They've gotten pulled into all these directions because they haven't made it a priority. And so in the same way that we would write out work meetings or doctor's appointments, things that we don't want to miss, you need to write those goals down, those things that you want to accomplish. So whether it's you want to write a book, whether it's you're just on a healing journey and you're like, I want to work on healing, but that's a big goal of mine. And so I'm going to dedicate 30 minutes of my day to meditation. Write it down in the same way you would write down anything that you would hold yourself to, because it needs to constantly be in front of you and it needs to be a priority. When you write it down in your planner and you're reflecting on that, that sends a message to you that this is a priority. Whatever that goal is a priority. And so you need to send that message to yourself. So be sure to plan your day. Do not allow your day and what happens in your day to control you. I also see this with a lot of my clients that deal with depression or anxiety. They don't plan their day and they go through the day, and then something triggers that depression or something triggers that anxiety. And then before you know it, they've fallen under pressure. If you're able to plan your day, that gives you directions of what you need to follow, and it gives you things to look forward to. And that way, when you're dealing with the depression or you're dealing with the anxiety, you're not tempted to allow those emotions to control you because you already have a strategy and a plan in place for your day. So those were the strategies. There is one little hack that I want to share with you too, like as you're going through the process of improving your productivity. And that's my 2-minute rule. Let me break that down for you. If anything takes under 2 minutes, do it right away. The reason I say that is because so many people come to me with these small little things that are in the way or impacting them that they just could have handled and they didn't. So if you get a bill in the mail and you have the money in your bank account and you can pay it then. Don't wait and say, I'll get back to that in a couple of days, because then it might be too late. And then before you know it, the month is gone on and you forgot to pay that bill. And now you're behind and you're getting a late fee and you're stressed and angry and irritated about it. If you have mail that you need to go through for the day, go through it. One of the things that I do is I check my mailbox every other day or every day to be sure that I'm checking my mail. So I'm not waiting until my mailbox is totally full, overloaded, and then I come in and I just throw all the mail on the table and walk away. Because then eventually that becomes a pile upon a pile upon a pile upon a pile. And what could have taken you 2 minutes to organize, you're sitting there on the weekend for an hour and a half trying to go through the bills and the mail. So if it's something that can be done very quickly, do it right away. It saves your time. One of the things that I work with on my daughters and myself. So put things where they go if it's quick so that you can know where to access them. So me, when I'm walking in the house, I put my keys in the same spot every time. It takes me less than 30 seconds to do that, but I can count on myself to find my keys in the same spot. So therefore, it doesn't impact my schedule the next day when I'm running around, throwing things all crazy, going, bonkers, trying to look for something that I was able to place there. And so I call it my 2-minute rule because it's so important that we handle the things that need to be handled, because a lot of times we let those little things build up and they impact our productivity down the road. A cool fact that I've learned is that our environment is a reflection of our mindset. And so when your environment is cluttered with a bunch of small tasks, clothes that are unfolded, mail that's all over the place, shoes, one shoe here and one shoe there, your brain is going to be cluttered. And the last thing you need on your productivity journal is to have a productivity journey is to have a brain block. You need to be clear-minded so that you're able to identify, where your time blockers are, identify a schedule that you'd like to implement, identify your big goal, and add in positivity. Those are the things that you need on your productivity journal. You do not need a distracted and unfocused mind. So I'm challenging you today to start implementing these hacks. Now, understand this is not something that's going to happen overnight. You have created a habit of what you already do. And so it's going to take time, but be patient with yourself and don't be so tempted to throw in the towel if it doesn't work the first time. I believe you'll find a ton of success with these productivity hacks, and I'm excited to see what you'll learn. Share below what you have found. Share this video with someone that you know could also be blessed by it. Then be sure to hit like and subscribe. I will chat with you guys later and have an amazing, amazing day. Bye.